So welcome back to Future Fleet. The next thing we're going to look at after you've made your Tinkercad project is to convert that into something that the 3D printer can use. So the first thing you need to do is get the program called ReplicatorG. So you're going to do that by downloading ReplicatorG from this link. When you click on that link, it will take you to here, which is a code archive. Now most of you are using Windows machine, so you're going to click right here on this link and download and install it. If you have a Mac, you'll use this, and if there's a couple of you has Linux, I'm impressed, but you would use this link. So you're going to download and install that. Once you've downloaded and installed that, you're going to go into ReplicatorG, and you're going to open up, let me open one up here, the STL file that you downloaded from Tinkercad. So there's a couple things you have to do in this program to make this work. The first thing you have to do is click on Move and center the object and put on the platform. Click those two links and then make sure that this object is sitting flat on the platform. If it's below the platform and the 3D printer tries to print it, which it will, it'll end up messing up the extruder or the part where the the plastic comes out, and it could really damage the machine. So it's really important that you do those two things. Center on platform. See how it goes away if I make it. See, we can move it around like that. So we're going to put center on platform, and we're going to do put on platform. So we're going to do those two things. The other thing is look at your picture, and we want the parts that have the most amount of space between them laying flat on the bed. Because if I rotate this in the Z direction, like that, whoops, wrong way, Y direction, you can see, well, that's upside down. There we go. And move it so it's on the platform. You can see that there's a lot of space in here. Well, the computer has to fill all that space in with structure, and will actually take longer to print because it has to fill that all in. So it's better to put the flattest side on the bed. So we're going to put it on the platform again. There we go. I'm going to rotate it again. And move it again. Center. Put on platform. Just verify. So now that you have that done, it is time to actually build what's called the G code for your project. So we're going to go up and click on the G, model to G code. There's two steps. So we're going to save the model. It's always going to ask you that because you've made some changes. And then we're going to use these specific settings for the ReplicatorG. So whatever's in there now will have to be changed to these. So let's go through some of these. First, since this is a 2 extruder printer, which means it has the ability to print 2 colors at the same time, we have to select which extruder we want this to go to. So you're actually going to do this twice. Once for the left, then you'll go through the whole process again for the right. So we're going to start with the left. Have all these checks. We want some support material in there, so we want to use full support or exterior support or none support. Well, depending upon your print, if there's a lot of areas that need support, you're going to want to put in there full support. If it looks like you might be able to get away with no support at all, then you can try that. If you look like you just need some support on the outside, you can hit exterior support. We always want this box checked because that will allow a bed of printing material to lay down on the printer bed first before we put our print on top. So that way it doesn't stick. So we always want to make sure that's checked. This you're going to have to decide, and you pick whether or not you need the support. If you're unsure, go with full support. We can always break off the supports later. If you're kind of confident about what you're doing and have some practical experience with this, you can select one of the other two options. So in this case, I selected none because there's not much support other than the GoPro slats. And when I printed it out, you'll see, and I'll show you, there is some extra material that I'll have to break out, but for the most part, it's fine. So you choose what you want. Use the default start end G code, leave that alone. Use Print-O-Matic, leave that alone. Then we're going to change the infill, which is how much actual plastic gets used. If we leave this at 10%, what happens is like a honeycomb gets formed by the extruder, and it doesn't fill in a solid piece. We want to do that in most cases. When we do our actual shipbuilding, we're going to make that from 10% to 100% because we're going to need to calculate the mass, and we need to know that it is 100% filled in order to do that. Leave this at 0.2, number of shells, leave it at 1, feed rate 50, travel feed rate 70, print temperature 230. Those are the settings that work well for this printer. You might have other printers that you have experienced and you might use other settings, but these are the settings that we're going to use for this. Then you hit generate G-code, and it's going to tell us we're slicing with accelerated speeds, blah, blah, blah. It's okay. We know all this. It's fine. So it's going to go through and slice it all up. This will take a while, so I'm going to pause the video while this does this. Okay, so once the G-code has been generated, you'll see there's a new tab up here, and this is all of the G-code that has been built. Lots of stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that. You could actually change those settings by hand if you wanted to, but that's why we have the computer to let it do that for us, because designing this by hand is pretty tricky. So the next thing we want to do is generate the file to be used with the SD card that actually goes in the printer, and that generates what's called an S3G file, and that's what you're going to submit to me in Blackboard. So we're going to click that next. This process is a little bit faster than the G code, so if you come to class with part of it done, that's fine. As long as if this is the last step, it shouldn't take that long. Then we save the file. You can see I've already done this, but I'm going to do it again. Hit save, and it builds it, and you can see it's so much faster when it goes through this. I don't even have to worry about pausing the video because we're just about done. 6 seconds, 7 seconds, all done. Now it's also going to tell us that we're not connected to the printer, and that's fine because you could connect this computer directly to the printer, but I found having the SD card works a lot better. Once you have saved this file, that's the file that you're going to give to me in Blackboard. So in Blackboard, there is an assignment in Future Fleet to upload the ReplicatorG files. So you're going to upload those files. But you're also going to do a screenshot of this image inside of ReplicatorG. So I'm going to start by first pressing the print screen key, which is PRT space SC on my laptop, and it's in the upper right hand corner right next to the delete key. So I'm going to press that. Notice nothing happens on the screen. Oh, actually I have another program in here that's running. So when you press print screen, you're then going to go into Microsoft Word, takes a minute to load. We want a blank document. We're only using this temporarily. We're going to press Control V. Oops, let me do that again. Print screen. Control V. There we go. So it pastes in an image of what's on the screen. You can see I'm currently recording. But here's the image that we want. Feel free to crop the image. So if you go into Format Pictures, you can trim out your picture. In here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Way over here. Crop. So I'm going to crop my picture down to the part that I want, and I really just want that window. So I can see that your print is actually on the bed and what it's going to look like when it 3D prints. So we press Enter and it should save it. Right click, Save as Picture, and then you're going to save this to your Documents file. It's trying to connect to our server, but it's going to save in your Documents file. Choose a place in your MakerMath folder that you will be able to find it. When you're done, you're going to go into Blackboard and you're going to upload your ReplicatorG files. So there should be two of them, one for the left, one for the right, but then you're also going to upload the image that you took. So we're going to browse my computer, find the files, upload. You're going to have 3 files listed here, and then you're going to hit Submit. When it's done, I can then copy those over to an SD card and try printing them out. We may not print them all. We'll see which ones we can actually print. Some of them may not be printable. And it does take a while to print, so it may take some time. And we might have to kind of pick and choose depending on how many people want to print stuff. So we might have people do it in groups, or you might have to wait a while until we're done this lesson before I can print them out. But eventually, if you want to print it, I will print it out for you. Okay? So that's it for the lesson. Good luck. Get started.